All right, TE class. So quick video on this automated modeling tool for the baby plant stand. I am going to start out, I drew the pot. So start with the known element. I drew this, and you can kind of see my timeline here. I started with a sketch. We'll turn that on quick. So just part of the pot. I revolved that around, and then I shelled it just to give it thickness. So now it matches what that pot actually looks like, or at least very close. I haven't gone crazy with the modeling. There's some weird feet on the bottom, and if we rotate around, you can see that I don't have any feet. I just have a flat surface. I've positioned this pot. If we look at our origin bodies, and specifically the planes, you can see here's my ground plane, and what I've done is I've actually placed this bottom edge 4 inches away, because the assignment says that your plant needs to be 4 inches above your surface that it's sitting on. So my table surface is here. I wasn't explicit to say that the bottom of the pot had to be at 4 inches, or the greenery of the plant. So there's a little bit of variability in what you can choose to do. So I've just chosen this bottom lip as my ground, and so I've made that 4 inches above just to try to meet the needs of the assignment. So there's my pot in existence. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this sketch. It's a little annoying. And now we're ready to go. So for the automated modeling, I need surfaces to connect. And so essentially I'm going to create some feet down here that I want this thing to land on the table. I'm going to connect to something that's up here that's going to support my plant. And then I need bodies to avoid. And I'll try to make that a little bit more explicit here in a minute. The bodies to avoid is actually the thing that helps to make this really interesting. So I'm going to start by saying, all right, I want my plant to rest on a shelf, and so I'm going to go ahead and create that shelf. So I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm going to do it on this ring surface right here. And I'm going to make this really simple, so we'll draw it a circle. I'm going to make this circle, we'll say 3¼ inches in diameter, 3.25, super terrific. It's a fully defined sketch, that's all I need. And I'm actually going to turn off my plant for a second, and I'm going to extrude my body. And let's rotate out of plane so we can see what we're doing. And I'm going to give this a little thickness. I don't know, 1/8 of an inch is probably plenty, so we'll say 0.125. And now I have this lovely disc. I'm going to use a tool that I haven't shown you how to use before, but it's a really great example. I'm going to use this combine tool to actually cut out my pot from my little my little ring here to create a donut shape. So I'm going to turn my pot back on, and I'm going to use combine. Target body is this one. My tool body is my pot. My operation is going to be a cut operation, but I want to keep the tool. So if I turn this off, it's going to subtract out this pot that I spent all this time drawing, and I want to keep that for later as a thing. So I'm going to leave that turned on, and we should be good. So I'm going to click OK, and it looks like nothing happened, but if you see now I have 3 bodies here, and if I turn them off, you'll see I'm left with this ring. And the thing about this is my pot is tapered, and there's that slight taper on the inside of that ring, and so it's giving me a very complex geometry with a very, very simple sketch. And so that's the value of that. So my pot is going to nestle into this ring, and now I need to draw some feet. So I'm going to turn those back on just to give myself a reference, and I'm going to create a new sketch. And now I'm going to go back down to my ground plane here, and I am going to say, I like circles. This whole thing is made up of circles. So I'm going to give myself a lovely circle here. And we'll make this, we'll say 0.5 inch seems good, 0.5 inches. And let's position this in space somewhere. So I can move this all around. I'm going to position this so that it aligns with my origin point, just because I need to constrain it somehow. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hold down Shift, click my origin point, and I'm going to click horizontal and vertical, and that locks that. So I can't move it left to right, but I can move it up and down. And I know that I want a slightly wider base so my plant doesn't topple over. This seems too wide, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a dimension from this point to here. And I don't know, let's see what 2 inches looks like. And that's maybe even a little too much, but we'll say that's good. We'll say, let's do 1.75. So we'll do 1.75, there we go. So this will overhang, it'll be hard to topple my plant. So I'm gonna say that looks super terrific. Finish the sketch. And I'm gonna extrude that, and we'll extrude it up just a little bit. So we'll say like a 1/16 of an inch, 0.0625. And I am going to go ahead and create an array of these things around that center base. So I'm going to go to create pattern, and I'm going to do a circular pattern, and object type bodies. I'm going to select the body, I want that one. Axis, I'm going to select, and I want this center axis. And how many do I want? Do I want 3? Do I want 4? I don't know. Let's do 4. I know I only need 3, but I'm interested in having a couple legs on this thing, so we'll say we'll get 4, and all the way around that axis. So I click on that, and lo and behold, now I have 4 feet. And so if we looked from the top down, you can see we have these 4 feet. So that's all I really need to connect. I'm going to connect these surfaces to this bottom surface. I'm going to keep this around so I can still use it as a cutting tool. Automated modeling may, come into the interior of that, so I want to be able to cut that back out again after I'm done. Yeah, and so now I need one more thing to use the automated tool, and that's bodies to avoid. These can really be anything. I want this thing to, I want this thing to just land on these 4 spaces. So I'm going to just create some rectangles. Actually, I'm going to do a circle to start. So I'm going to create, again, a new sketch on this bottom surface. I'm going to turn off these bodies for a second so I can actually see what's going on. We'll create a circle here in the middle. Let's make this, we'll say 1.5. inches, finish that sketch. So really simple. I'm going to turn my bodies back on so I can see what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and extrude this guy up, and I don't know, we'll leave that all out of there. So we'll say we'll come up like 1.75. All right, I'm going to create a little bit more interest here, so I'm going to create a sketch, this time on that surface. And I'm going to use a center rectangle. And this, I know, seems very sort of, it's sort of arbitrary, and it is, right? And that's the beauty of this thing, is that we are really making this arbitrary here. And we'll say this is 1.25. Okay. This isn't even fully defined, and that's okay. So now I'm gonna extrude that guy, and I'm gonna extrude it actually in 2 directions. I'm gonna do symmetric, and I'm gonna come out like that. And we'll make this a new body, super terrific. Oh, so this is a problem. I have done this so it intersects with my feet. So, okay, I need to rotate this plane. So here's something I didn't really expect to do here. I'm going to create a new plane at an angle. So construct plane at angle. I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to make it at 45 degrees. 45 degrees, super terrific. Enter. All right, so that's my new plane, and I'm going to go back to this sketch. I'm going to say edit, redefine sketch plane, and plane I want under construction. Oh, did I not hit OK? Haha, I didn't hit OK. Previous step, so we'll cancel that. Oh, it's there. Why isn't it there? All right. Oh, right. Okay. Can we move you back? Oh, haha. Sorry, bear with me for a second. We're going to pull this plane back here in time. That's why it didn't show up. And now if I edit sketch plane, redefine sketch plane, I can use this one here. Here we go, and click OK. Woohoo! Yay! All right, so now I've just extruded that through this space. All right, and now I'm going to do that same process again because I want another box going this direction, or actually what might be smarter is, no, let's just do that same process. So construct plane at angle. I'm going to use this under, and we're going to rotate it negative 45 degrees. Okay. And then create a sketch on this plane. Whoa, why are we turned here? Okay. Same deal, center rectangle. I don't know, these do not need to be identical at all, so we can say this is 0.5. And we can say that this is 1.5, sure. Super terrific, finish the sketch. And then I'm gonna let's turn these off for a second. Don't need you. Let's turn you guys off except for that last one. There we go. We'll extrude you. Yep, and symmetric. Again, we're going to come out this way, new body. We're going to actually just join. There we go. And OK. So now you see that we have like this little axis. This is stuff that I don't want modeling to touch. So it's going to have to model around that when you do the automated modeling part. And so I'm just creating some boundary conditions to work against. All right. So now for the fun part. I'm going to click automated modeling, faces to connect. So it's asking me to select. I'm going to select you and you, and you, and you, and lastly, you. So I want to connect those faces. Bodies to avoid, I'm going to select that. I'm going to select this whole master thing here, and you see it turns it red, so it's giving me some visual cues here. Red, bad, avoid, blue, good, connect. And then I simply say generate shapes. The beauty of this is that it's going to give me some designs that, like, probably as a designer I wouldn't immediately start with. So it gives us some options to work from, and we can go in and modify those. For this project, I'm not asking you to modify those, but they are in fact surface models that we can adjust and modify. So it gives us something that we can start from, and it's also a 3D model that we can modify. So if I wanted to create like a little water catch pan underneath this, I can go in and model and add those things to the mix as I go. All right, so after we hit generate shapes, it is going to start to create some interesting forms here that are going to connect these three faces. Some of these are asymmetric, some of these are more symmetric, and you're going to get 6 options, and they are going to be different. And you can see, you know, that if I choose one, it will start to show it to me in gray, and I can kind of look at this thing in space. That's a very like sturdy sort of thing. You can take this slider and I can make it thinner, so I can move that, or I can go the other way and make it thicker if I want it more massive, right? Ooh, that's delicate. It has a little like Queen Anne leg action going on there. So ooh, that's actually pretty fancy, but not a shape I would have immediately started out with. I mean, that's actually quite a lovely form. Unlike this, which I think is kind of like, oh, what the heck is that? It's bulbous and ugly. Actually, it breaks this area, so to get this to remodel, I might have to like put a surface here and say like, you can't go down below that surface, bodies to avoid, because that, you know, is kind of breaking my rules here. Alternative 3, ooh, this is like super tiny, and it is clearly adding all of this stuff in this space, so that's not really a great option. We have this alternative 6, which is interesting, but I really like this. I think this is there's some cool stuff going on with these legs. It is pretty symmetric about the axis. I can thin it out as much as possible, so if that's the one I like, I can simply click OK, and it's going to go ahead and create that body for me. I can go ahead and turn, let's take a look at what this looks like actually here. What do I want to, let's turn off the pot. Let's turn off that. All right, so you can see now it's the solid surface. So I'm gonna have to subtract my pot from that anyway. So I'm gonna use that pot as my cutting tool again. I do wanna, let's turn off you guys as well. And we can turn off our construction geometry and this last sketch. So there we go. It's got these lovely feet, super terrific. I actually like the way those look. I'm gonna go in here and fillet these out. But I'm gonna combine this whole thing first. So I'm gonna combine these bodies that I see. So I'm gonna combine target body is this one, tool bodies, this one, and all of these guys, you and you and you and you. And my operation is actually gonna be a join. And I'm going to click OK. So this now all becomes one body, but it also kept these guys, right? So it actually kept copies of those. So I can turn these guys off and then turn this back on. All right, so this is one thing, but you see that my pot won't sit in there. So I'm gonna have to turn my pot back on, and I'm gonna go back to that combine. Target body is this one, tool bodies is this one. And I want to cut this time. I want to keep my tools and click OK. Turn you off. And we want to turn, oops, nope, other way around. We want to turn you off. So there we have this place that my pot will sit. Lovely. Now again, like I said, this is totally modifiable. So if I want to dump some holes in the bottom of this, great. If not, that's okay. I can fillet this thing. So that's, I definitely want to do that right now. It's like this needs a little fillet action to make this a little softer. Oh, can I do that? That's crazy, but that's cool. Sweet. Ooh, look at that. Got a little wonkadonk. Maybe a little bit too much, so let's back that off to like maybe just, yeah, a 1/16. Lovely. Now I have that lovely little thing, and we'll do that same thing here on the bottom edge just to soften that up, and we'll do a 1/16-ish. Sure, looks great. And I want to fillet this top edge as well. So we're gonna grab that edge, and that edge, and that edge, and this is where I'm gonna break Fusion probably. And we wanna just, oh yeah, no, it doesn't like that at all. It doesn't like that at all. Let's see if we can do it a 30-second and see what happens. Oh, nice, look at that. All right, so that's just gonna soften that interface for us a little bit. All right, so there we have it. We have my lovely little plant stand, and my plant should totally fit inside of here. Lovely, lovely. Again, I could modify this body if I wanted to. I could come back to this body and edit it, and then I could go in and, like, you know, pull out this point if I wanted to, modify, grab this point, and we can pull it out of space, right? So now I just made this a self-intersecting body, so I can't go that way. But as you can see, I can totally manipulate this thing if I want to. But I'm going to click cancel and go back because I like the form. All right, so that's it. That's the project. Once you have that, we're going to save it. So I should have saved this a while ago, but we'll save here. Don't want it there. And save. All right, once it's saved, I can go File, 3D Print, preparation type export. So I think it'll actually default to manufacturing. We want to go to Export, Object, select it. Now I've turned everything else off, so I'm only going to select everything that's there. STL binary, unit type inch. We don't need to preview it, and I'm going to click OK. I need to save this as something, so baby plant stand STL files, Brian's project. It's going to put it in my downloads folder and click save. And that STL file is the thing you're going to use to 3D print. So that concludes our lovely video of me stumbling through making this baby plant stand using automated modeling. I hope that's helpful for you all, and good luck.